Tonight on Business Live, GRA target 4.5 billion cedis of revenue raised from e-levy by the end of this year.
The expectation is that the e-levy should be able to bring in about 4.5 billion Ghana cedis by the end of the year.
Day 3 of the levy's implementation comes amid mixed feelings of technical glitches and wrongful deductions. The president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association will join us for a live analysis on the levy's impact on the cost of doing business. Plus, GIPC targets key investors to help reduce export of raw materials.
Connected from farm gate to market and from factory gate to market, there's efficiency. Railway will bring quite a bit of that efficiency. So the problems are being tackled in a systematic and strategic way.
And later, the Vice President, Dr. Baumia, assures Muslim community of an ease in the cost of living at the Eid al-Fitr celebrations.
In spite of the unexpected destructive global factors which have severely hit our economy in the past 2 years, our government has not reneged on its development commitments to the people of Ghana in the areas of education, healthcare, and infrastructure development, amongst others.
We have all these stories and more coming up shortly. Do stay with us. Hello and welcome. I'm Charles Ayitey. Tonight, the Commissioner General of the GRA, Dr. Reverend Amishadawusu Amwa, says about 4.5 billion cedis in revenues expected from the e-levy this year. Speaking to George Rafi, the Commissioner General admitted that though the system may face technical hitches in its initial stages, expected revenue is set to be achieved.
Implementing the e-levy will ensure that the integrity of the data and the security of the data is not compromised in any way.
So this also came at a cost, right? Is it a cost that is going to be borne by the GRA?
In collecting of taxes, the Revenue Administration Act again gives the Ghana Revenue Authority to be able to do up to 3% as a retention from the collection of taxes to be able to for the expenditure towards the collection of the tax. Do you understand that? Okay. So for every expenditure that we will incur, because there's no way you can collect tax without incurring expenditure. Whether your software is developed by you or not, you have to buy servers. You have to, if you buy any off-the-shelf software, you have to pay annual maintenance cost for the software. You have to get people fit on the streets, and all this is cost. Now, the Revenue Administration Act grants unto Ghana Revenue Authority up to 3% of the tax collected for the purposes of administering the tax. And therefore, in collecting the e-levy, Ghana Revenue Authority will be working within that 3% that is granted to Ghana Revenue Authority. As we start this expenditure, even though no revenue has come in now for what do you call it, e-levy, but because we know you collect tax and we know that there is under 3% for us for the tax collection, up to 3%, and when I say up to 3%, it is for the Minister for Finance at any point in time to determine the exact percentage, and therefore our expenditure must always be within that 3%. And for whatever expenditure that we incur, as far as e-levy is concerned, we will stay within that up to 3% that's allocated to GRA.
Some months have already gone and we understood that even the ministry has revised their target as well. In taking off with respect to this levy, what's the clear target are you looking at mobilizing before the end of the year?
Yeah, if you recall, at the inception last year when the budget was read, the targets, the expectation was that we'll be able to collect about 6.9 billion, and because 3 months have gone already and we are starting in the 5th month, and then also in terms of the other ramifications, we have looked at the figures, and these figures have been revised downwards for the remaining part of the year. And currently the expectation is that the e-levy should be able to bring in about 4.5 billion Ghana cedis by the end of the year.
All right, we stay with the e-levy because it's day 3 of its implementation, and already there are mixed feelings about the tax handle, from wrongful deductions to technical errors. But in all, these businesses that rely heavily on mobile money transactions are anxious about the impact of the e-levy on the cost of doing business in the country. Helping us discuss tonight is President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Oben. We're grateful, Doctor, I could join us in such a short notice. First of all, day 3 of e-levy, what exactly are traders telling you regarding their concerns?
Yeah, when it was being introduced to us, people were naturally confused with new things. People are not comfortable with new taxes, and they will have to have better perspective and better understanding. Then they go on with it. So initial stages were asking about double taxation. We're talking about even the rate of the levy itself, whether it is too high or not. And since the implementation, we've gotten advantage to have education with Ghana Revenue Authority, which have been very insightful. And then it have actually cleared some of the fears from us in terms of the double taxation, because they have assured us that those who have registered with the TIN number, with the VAT and all that, some of these things will not cut on them. And so we are good to go.
So if I could be very clear on this one, with traders that have TIN numbers, they're going to be exempted from the e-levy deductions?
Yeah, that's what the assurance have come. So in fact, this is how they are going to do to solve the issue of the double taxation. Otherwise, it's going to be a very huge issue. Are we going to take it out at the end when we are filing our taxes, or you are going to make a mechanism that whichever tax that we are paying now, we are not made to pay? So either we pay and then we take it out at the end of the year, or whatever mechanism that they will bring will go a long way to help us, because we should not pay double taxation. Yeah.
But definitely, Guta is made up of, a wide range of informal sector workers. And it also begs the question about the impacts the e-levy is going to have on the cost of doing business.
Yeah, to tell the truth, the prudence of business tells us that we have options to make. When somebody is paying me through the Momo, I'm not going to suffer any payment. But when I'm paying to my suppliers, my creditors, or whoever I have to pay, then I have to commit something. So where are the options? The options are, prudence will tell you that you either go the traditional way, you let the person come and take the money physically, or you transact through the bank, the clearing system, that's the check system and all that.
Which are exempted from e-levy.
Which are exempted. And then also, for convenience sake, then you embrace yourself with modernity, which give you some ease of transacting, and that's the Momo. And that if I'm transferring 1,000 Ghana cedis, I'm paying 15 cedis.
Yeah.
Then I make them comparison. If by going to the bank to transact this is the best way for me as a businessman, or calling the person to come over, or simply negotiating with the person that if I pay the money, we will share two or two. Businessmen are very intelligent, and they will have their own way of doing this. But we have the options, and so it doesn't put any much pressure on the way of doing business. And I believe that is not going to put a much burden on us and even the consuming public.
But in inference, it does suggest that, of course, it's really going to have some sort of an impact on the trading community.
Definitely, whichever cost that will come to bear. But then I've also told you that we have other means of doing the same business. Don't also think that we're not having our traditional way of doing our business till the Momo 10 came in. And so if that you have that one and you want to avoid a cost, because maybe there are some costs that you can bear, Those that is very negligible, there's 6 cities, 5 cities and all that. But maybe if you're going to do a huge transfer of about 50,000, 100,000, then you say, no, let me go through the main stream banking system. So the prudence that you attach to your business will indicate that you incur more cost or not. But let's say you have 3 options. You are paying your creditor. You have to incur a cost of 15 cedis because you are paying 1,000 Ghana cedis to the person, and the cost at stake is 15 cedis. Are you going to call the person to come over to collect the money? No, you are inconveniencing your client, somebody who supplies you goods. Are you going to send somebody to the bank with car and transact it the time that goes with it? No, you see, this system have come and it has created a lot of ease and time and cost of doing business. And if you have to pay something for it, depending on what business you are doing, if 15 cedis that I'm talking as a reference to 1,000 Ghana cedi transfer is very significant for you, then you opt for the other method of trading. I don't think this is going to be a huge issue and burden on businesses. I don't think at all.
Indeed. Well, the AGI, the Chamber of Commerce, have equally raised concerns about the impact it's going to have, especially on entrepreneurs who rely heavily on mobile money transactions, saying it's really going to, wipe off their revenue margins. But,
No, it depends on how we are going, because don't also think that we use intelligence to do our business. And that's why normally I say that if there's options, then what government should have done is to make the rate affordable so that the compliance level will be so high. Otherwise, the government figures may not be attained.
Exactly.
Because then people have their ways of complying or not complying, and legitimately so.
The chamber was calling for a bandwidth of 0.5% instead of the 1.5%.
Yeah, so because normally we want the tax net to be expanded. But whilst we call that, we want the tax rate to be also affordable. So when they are affordable, the compliance level is very high, extremely high. And even it goes a long way to help government itself.
So you feel this isn't affordable for a majority of informal sector workers out there?
Yes, if you look at the people in this sector who trade in the 200, if you compile it, maybe at a point it may look negligible, like I'm saying, but maybe if you compare them within a year or a month, then you see that it has some impact.
Let's talk about exemptions, because we do know that the GRA has granted some exemptions to mobile money merchants so that they will not be able to incur much losses, especially when the fluidity in their transfers is so high. Do you think such a special dispensation should be, given to traders as well?
Yeah, they've started. And then they will see, they will check the complexities of the whole thing. And if the need arises, because sometimes they will be thinking about abuses in the system. So when the time arises, and then we see that it will be workable for us when exemptions are given, and then we even propose for them to do. But for now, I think having gone through education with them, we had intensive education on last Thursday, and so many questions have been answered. And this thing have just been implemented. We are yet to face some of the nitty-gritties, the complexities on operating it. And when the questions arrive, we will also get in touch with Ghana Revenue Authority for solution.
Great. And we have been in touch with the GRA, and they are very hopeful of giving us feedback as and when information keeps being updated. But, speaking about doing business in Ghana, Doc, we have witnessed COVID-19's impact. We've witnessed the Russia-Ukraine war, and currently we're witnessing situations here in Ghana regarding the high cost of living. From your perspective, how do you analyze Ghana's, business environment when it comes to doing business from the trader's point of view, especially when we're having e-levy also coming on board?
Yeah, and the past 2 years have been very difficult for traders. And I would say that the impact of the COVID have gotten its negative impact on so many sectors. But for trading, I mean, we've had our worst period. In that, cost of global commodities went high, abnormally high, and freight charges haven't gone up. And then if you come here also, we have other taxes that have been introduced, new taxes and all that, like the yield levy that we're talking, all add up to the cost of doing business. So definitely, we have not had it very easy during the past few months or years.
But you've been in engagement with government, with the finance ministry, with, of course, the trade ministry. What is not given in all these engagements between yourself and them? Because it does seem to mean that there isn't any leeway, especially with the, the flat rate VAT scheme, where Gutta has been already, so much heavy on the impact it's having on the cost of your profit margins.
Yeah, where we have to make government understand our plight, we have done it, and we've done it forcefully. And in the case of the benchmark, how we went about it, and in the case of the flat rate, because there's a whole lot of disparities in here. Now, if you come to the market regarding the flat rate, that's why we drew the government attention that at this time, where we have so many pressures coming from COVID and other taxes like the yield levy and all that, this is not the time for us to also come in contact with such a very difficult tax system, or tax system that is not uniform. Let me put it that there's no uniformity on the new tax system where some are being migrated to the standard rate. It means that those who are going to standard rate in the same market, they are going to charge 19.25%, and those who are registered to collect the VAT are going to collect or charge the VAT 4%. And then there are a whole lot of who are not also registered into the taxnet and who pay nothing. I believe that you've been going to the market. And Charles, if you have to be sincere, if I tell you to give me VAT invoices, you will not have none. You will not have any. Just because you walk into Okanshi, Opera Square and all that, and you just buy from the person who is not going to charge you VAT. Let's all be frank. And we are saying that if you have such a system that does not ensure fairness, then you are going to add those who are being moved to the standard rate out. Because who will go to the market and say, I'm going to go and buy my goods and collect the VAT of 19.2%. Whilst the person knows that there's someone who is charging 4% and another one who is not charging at all.
So
that's not fairness.
Where does that leave the retailer as we speak?
It means that we are in a confused state. And it means that if you do not also comply, the tax people are going to be on your neck and they are going to also disturb you. That's why we came out forcefully with that press release. And fortunately, the Ghana Revenue Authority have sat down with us. We smoked a peace pipe, and they've understood our concerns. And it's obvious that we can be in the same market where other people are charging 19.2 for the same tax system. Because the tax is not to punish anybody. The tax should bring fairness, parity, and so that we can all do what is right. But it's not that it discriminates against some of us, because they say that your threshold is higher. And that your threshold is higher, so we have to punish you so that you are edged out of business.
And we're going to see how that particular
and so we've sat down with them, and they've understood. Great. And then they have Ghana Revenue Authority actually also sympathize with this. And they have encouraged us to petition the policymakers. You know that they are policy implementers, and that we've been encouraged to petition through the policymakers, for which we have done. That we send a petition to Economic Management Team and the Finance Ministry for redress. So
any timeline regarding when this is going to be addressed for Gutta members? Any timeline from the policymakers?
Oh, I believe that, from what I explained to you, because it's impractical. Nobody can do it. All right. I will not go and charge while my neighbor, my next door neighbor is charging 4%, while the other one and the other store is not charging at all.
Okay.
And so if even you force me to charge, I will not comply. And then it will also not help government and all that. That's why we made it clear to government that they should look at it, bring some uniformity. It's not even about the standard rate. It's not even about the flat rate. It's about one that you choose that is uniform for all of us.
Great. All right. So you're still watching Business Live with me, Charles Ayitey. We are having in studio the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng. We want to go for a short break. When we return, we're going to be having a discussion on where this leaves the cost of goods and services on the market. Already we're witnessing some hikes, but with the current factors of the cedi and the benchmark values, where does this leave the average Ghanaian bar? We're going to be having more of this when we return. Just stay with us. This is Business Live. Our guest in the studio is President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng. We've been discussing the e-levy, its hitches and the impact on the trading community. Let's now delve into matters regarding the cost of doing business in Ghana, the cedi, the benchmark values, and what have you, Doc. So before the break, you were raising concerns about the benchmark values. We do know that this has been a tussle between yourself, the Finance Ministry, and other business chambers. But we now have, some, progress. Government has revised the benchmark values from 50 to 30 and from 30 to, I think, 20. Yeah. Yes. But we do know that currently there is this negotiation between the Association of Ghana Industries and government over it. What exactly are they hoping to achieve?
Yeah. The AGI wanted complete reversal of the 50%. And we said that it will be too much on us and that is not going to solve any problem for us because the benchmark came to solve a problem. So if you reverse it wholly, it means that you are taking us back to the problem. So this had been the argument. Right. Unfortunately for us, government met us halfway each. And they give us 30% for the general commodity and 20% for and the cars. And so with that, I think everybody is compensated in a way. But what is more interesting is how the finance minister want to bridge us up, the trading community and then the manufacturers. And that he has set even the industrialization committee that and the finance minister have made it clear that the way forward is for us to industrialize to make sure that we also migrate from trading into captains of industry. You know, that has been the natural progression by our businessmen of old. But I think this thing got halted somewhere because of the coup d'etat where most of the successful businesses became targets. Because normally you start from trading and then you move on to importation, then having found the volumes, then you go into manufacturing. And that's what the Sians, the Sakas, the Animados, and BA Mensa and all that were doing it.
Great.
And I mean, it was a huge success in those days till it got halted somewhere along the line. And so the finance minister wanted to bring us back. So now he has put us together, the trading community and the manufacturers, so that we appreciate the frustration of manufacturers. And whilst we are trying to solve the problems of the manufacturers, we also take advantage and move into that sector. And so now I don't think there's anything like
a tussle between both of you. Great. But we do know that a key issue on the mind of both parties, AGI manufacturers, the business community, is the performance of the cedi. We have seen the cedi have its own challenges. It's the worst performing currency in the entire world as we speak. The Bank of Ghana moving in very quickly to, resuscitate its value. But from your perspective, how do you think this is really impacting your operations as a trading community? Yeah, it means that cost of doing business will be high. It means that we'll be highly uncompetitive among the other nations, especially with the continental free trade areas. This is all that it means. It means that the cross-border trading that we all do, we do compare prices, and so if your prices is good, people from Togo will come to Ghana and buy. And you see that mostly we go to Togo and buy our goods. They are not manufacturers. They are also traders. But because of some of these issues... Price volatilities. Yes.
because the depreciating rate, if it is high, if interest rate is high, it all go, if the duties that we pay at the port, cost of doing business have gone up, it makes us very uncompetitive, and it will not also help us also even to compete among the expatriates who have these monies cheaper at their countries, the sources of their money and all that. And so even within, then the locals are very much disadvantaged.
How do you rate government intervention so far through the monetary, spectrum, the Bank of Ghana? How do you rate the interventions to stabilize the city so far?
Oh, so far, the currency have been quite stable till recently. And so if we do the rating, normally I don't want to put any figures there to avoid any, but these are there for all of us. And these things came, and I think this issue have become perennial, as I've been saying. Every last year, the last quarter of the year, December, January, and then February, these things have become perennial because of obvious reasons. I've articulated these issues and all that. But unfortunately, the Ukraine thing came somewhere in February. And so just at the time that it would have gone down, this thing came to aggravate it. And we've come this far. And then speculation also set in, and the whole thing was very scary. But if we have been able to come back at this rate, because I told you once that our monies have been depleted to about 20 or 25%, and now it has come to stabilize around 15% depletion. Then you take it as the better.
I know. So we're kind of better off as we were than we were, some months back. Dr. Obeng, we're grateful that we could have this extensive conversation. We're going to be having more of this, especially when traders really matter when it comes to Ghana's business community. Well, that's it for Business Live. I'm Charles Ayitey. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.